Hi, everybody. How are we
Hello.
doing? Thank you for coming. We're excited that you are here.
Yes. So I am Jessica Bonalapati. I am the operations manager at Concetti. So I support our team internally to make sure things are running smoothly. And I also support our commercial clients with their operations anytime we do a built environment project.
And I'm Caitlin, a designer and trend forecaster with Concetti. I work mainly with the design team, and we collaborate for residential and commercial design.
So a little bit about Concetti. If you're not familiar with us, as Craig said, we are a Detroit-based, woman-owned interior design strategy studio, and we offer both residential and commercial services. Concetti was born out of a desire to do design a little differently. So we utilize both left and right brain thinking to do design strategic solutions that reflect your unique style and needs while also setting clear goals. So in short, we create space that becomes you. Our promise is we make sure that every client feels seen and heard. We do what we say we will do, and we never impose our style on you. We're here to bring your vision to life. So we're a little bit different than some other interior design studios where they have a very specific style, and that's why clients are attracted to them and want to go to them. If you go and look at our portfolio, you'll see that we have a wide range of styles because we really design to our client, and we have a very diverse client base.
So it's collaborative between the client and the designer and their team. So essentially, we get to know you on a psychological level and what you're looking for in your space, and then we help you interpret that pretty literally.
So our approach, we're also a little unique in that we have a human-centered design approach, which means that we put you at the center of every decision. So we never make a design decision or a decision about process without making sure that it's customized and personalized to you.
You're going to hear a lot about our process today as well, and it's very clearly defined by these stages. And we're going to walk you through the phases of design and help you understand what role the client plays and then also what role Concetti plays to help you interpret your vision.
Yep. And so this is our process that Caitlin was just talking about. We developed this process because it really allows us to be really good partners to our clients, and it also allows you to engage with us at various commitment levels that feel comfortable and that you're ready for. So our first phase is the vision, and we break it up into two parts: the discover phase, which allows us to take the time to really get to know you, understand your vision, understand your family, understand what solutions you're looking for when you're redesigning your space, what your styles are. We really take the time to bring that out and truly understand that first before moving forward.
It's an interview too, so we want to know exactly how you want your space to function, or maybe what you don't like about how your space currently functions. It's going to be psychological. We want to understand what your hopes are for the space in the future so that we can include those in programming. That's all in Discover. It's really an interview process with the client and Concetti.
Yep. Then we get to move into co-create. So now that we have all this information about you and really pulled that out, we're able to really build upon those ideas in 3D and prototype different solutions. So we may present a couple different concepts and really work with you to find one that everyone feels very confident in before we move forward in the process.
And it's taking the vision and literally co-creating the concept together. So you're taking the interview juicy details that we learned about you through Discover, and then now we're translating that into a co-create where we would build your space together. So there can be several stages of co-create. It's not just a one and done. We don't say, here's your design, and now you figure it out. We work together, and there's stages of manipulating the design based on how you feel about the concept, which is very cool.
Yep. Then we're able to move into phase 2, which is really building that plan. And so the first thing we do is really personalize that concept. So that's where we're able to source all of the items specific to you. So we may have a concept where there's a beautiful purple couch, but really picking that best purple couch that fits you and is your aesthetic. Then we're able to move into translate the concept to build out bid requests, to really pull in those third-party contractors, installers to really execute the plan.
Subcontractors, third-party vendors, anybody that's going to help us execute the design. We are going to play sort of the middleman between executing the vision that we've created together, looking at your budget very carefully, and helping you walk through the process of how to make it a real space.
Yep.
In phase 2.
Yep. And then phase 3, our final phase, is really that action. That's where we're able to pass the torch to those third parties, those subcontractors, to help execute the design. And we're really there to make sure that it's being executed to the fullest of that original concept and vision. So any type of procurement that happens during this stage, we make sure it's delivered, white glove delivery. It's staged perfectly. We'll hang the towels. We'll make sure that it is exactly the way that you envisioned it.
And we take care of the headache. So you don't have to speak with any of these third-party vendors. We are going to be the communication bearer between you and the parties to help make sure the design intent is executed correctly.
Yep.
Yes.
So then a little bit more about our services. Like I said, we offer both residential and commercial design services. So for residential, we have 3 options in terms of service. Our first is called a refresh. So this is where we're not doing any construction, we're not demoing anything, taking anything down. We're really using paint, window treatments, and furniture to recreate your space to become you.
Solving with existing architectural details. So we're not really going to be digging into your walls or tearing anything down. It's usually done with furniture, accents, and as Jessica said, paint, finishes, things of that nature.
Yeah. And we're really, really excited. We're actually, you guys get a sneak peek on this announcement. We're going to be announcing in February, but we will be able to offer financing to our clients, low interest to 0% financing to cover both the design services costs and procurement costs, 0% financing up to $18,000. And then the financing goes all the way up to $200,000. So we really heard a need from a lot of our clients that were in this kind of refresh service stage. You know, they didn't want to do major construction. They were just looking to really update their space to really fit their style. And the financing will hopefully help fill a gap to really get that executed. So make sure you're following us on social media, our newsletter, website to kind of hear that announcement coming in February.
And renovation.
Yes.
This is going to be a little deeper, so we're phasing it out. We've got refresh, and then we go a little bit deeper in renovation where we're going to touch electrical and maybe do some new floor planning or corridors, things like that.
Yep, exactly. Able to really tear down what you need and make it what you want.
And then, of course, new construction, and we're all familiar with that. So we do the full spectrum is sort of the gist of design with Concetti, is that there's no project too small or too large that we can help create for you.
Then we move into our commercial services. And so for our commercial clients, which are our business clients, we take a holistic approach to designing through brand strategy. So we use the lens of what is your full brand experience when doing that design work. And that means a couple different things to Concetti. First, it means operations. So through your operations, we look at how your brand influences what your internal processes look like and how they're documented and communicated clearly to your employees. So there's no confusion about this is the customer experience that we want and this is how our employees should be executing it.
Additionally, of course, brand, an expression of the brand in all ways of design. So this starts through the phases that we expressed to you earlier. We look at the concept and the vision first. We understand your brand identity, and then we help you figure out how to translate that in through an aesthetic, through your built environment, and through all things branded to you.
Yep, logo, colors, typography, and then also verbally, so your brand voice. How does your brand speak? How do you want people to talk about your brand? We really work with our clients to develop that if they don't have that. Next is culture. So how does your brand show up in your team and in your company culture? From identifying the leadership style and communication style of the company to actually creating team agreements and handbooks, again, so that there's no question on this is the brand, this is the vision, how is this being translated into the employees so that customers are experiencing the brand the way that is envisioned.
Additionally, with culture too, it's about how you want the people to live in your space.
Yeah.
So culturally, that can mean how many small focus zones do you need? Do you want people to be collaborative? Do you want people to be able to have dining in your commercial space? Things like that will help interpret how the culture feels, not only through brand, but through the people living in your built environment.
Yep. And then last is through wayfinding, which is signage, what most people think of wayfinding, but also what we call landmarks, which is points of interest and points of note when you're giving instructions or directions to clients. So for example, If you have a space where a customer or client comes in and they want to use the restroom, you might say, okay, go down the hall and make a right at the giant pink palm tree, because that's a part of your brand, that's a part of your culture. And so making sure that there are landmarks like that when you're communicating where to go, what to do, that reflect your brand.
So we're going to look at some 2025 predictions for trend. As a designer, I work very closely with my clients to not impose trend onto them, but help understand maybe what trend-worthy elements we can bring into their space. So first, we wanted to help you understand exactly what a trend is and how we come to interpret what that means for Concetti. So I'm sure we're all familiar with the different design styles. We're going to be looking at these very high level. So we have, of course, modern, casual, traditional, and eclectic. Pretty much every element of design is going to filter into one of these design styles. What makes a trend is where you see them merge together and create something different. And so our trend predictions for 2025 were actually forecasted in 2023. So the lifespan of a trend is usually predicted 2 years before it actually happens. So we're going to look at an example of what this means literally interpreted into existing design spaces. So we have a modern and eclectic merger before you. A trend is made up of all of the callouts that you see on the page. So we have pattern interpreted through wallpaper. Pattern can also be interpreted through texture, for example, the tambour on the front of our bathroom vanity, or shape. So we see the spherical bun foot, the enlarged bun foot on the vanity. That's going to be what makes this very modern. What makes it eclectic is the use of a tinted stone. And so we're seeing all of the elements of design interpreted through a shift. More specifically, the trends that we're calling out for 2025 that we're very excited about are palette. Seasonless warmth is going to be applied to everything that we look at moving forward, essentially, today. What does that mean? Well, it starts with the runway. So we're seeing fashion hold seasonless palettes. So you used to be able to see people in April commit to pastels, in the winter commit to deeper tones. There's no more rules to this, and it applies to interiors as well. So we're noticing this warmth and materiality and in palette coming for spring. So it'll be really interesting to see some of these details coming out in a new way for a spring season. Some examples of how this can be applied to material and to color. I'm sure you all have seen the green tinted marble. We've had that around for a while. This is the evolution of that. So marble, natural stone, it's still going to be tinted, but it's going to be warm. So you're going to see apricots, rusts, these sort of peachy tones come through. It's going to reckon a little bit with the 1980s color palette, which we're starting to see silhouettes pull in from the 80s as well. And this can be applied directly to wood, stone, metal, palette. So you can take that and literally interpret it into all elements of design. Something fun with accessories. We've been talking a lot about dopamine decor. I'm sure you're all familiar with this really fun phenomenon in design. Little tiny accents that make you feel something in your space, that kind of snack that you buy while you're out at Target and you just can't live without it. I just bought a little disco covered heart for Valentine's Day. I needed it, and that's a dopamine decor. So it's gonna give you a little bit of joy every time you see it. So the evolution of dopamine decor, we are coining avant accents. We've seen it expressed in a couple other ways, but we like this alliteration. It really just means doing something unexpected and being bold about it and committing to it, even if people don't understand exactly why you have it in your space. You know that it means something to you. The way that we're seeing this interpreted in Maison et Objet and also in some of the spring trends is through furniture detailing. So on the bottom left-hand side, you can see there's a cowboy boot. for the leg of the chair. How fun, how weird, how sassy. The upper left, we have a banquette with this curved detail and a contrasting bolster pillow. It's sassy, it's fun, it's avant, we like it. You're seeing the lamp in the middle is an interpretation of an antiquity. So just these really fun details that live large and don't have to be permanent. So how can you express this into your space, making it a little bit more palatable? We can honestly see this interpreted in so many different ways. What we enjoy are little tiny moments that live loudly. We love an accent tile, for example, or a custom upholstered element, as you can see to the headboard of the bedroom, or a little detail like a shell that can hold your champagne. So just something in your home that feels very special and it helps you express your authentic style. And I'm sure you've noticed a couple of the images are going to feel familiar from what we just talked about. This idea of formless function. This is going to be elements that are functional, that have this over-exaggerated, organic, formless shape. And we saw this expressed in accessories for a long time. So those wavy edged mirrors, something with an exaggerated curve. We're now starting to see this evolve into interpreted furniture or large custom soft pieces. So you can see the sofa has that curvilinear back, also the headboard, but even the oversized scale caterpillar sectional that you can see on the upper right-hand side, that is the evolution of this exaggerated formless functionality. How are we seeing this involved in architectural detailing? So on the kitchen counter, on the base cabinet, you're able to see a large exaggerated curve. The softening edges of built architectural detailing is this trend evolving from accents to architectural details, which is very fun. You can also see the edge of the door. The passageway in the middle image has an exaggerated curve. So you can take this element of a trend and you can explode it into a larger detail and see the literal evolution of formless function. And this is something that we are really excited to see become on trend, as the next case study that you're going to walk through with us is going to apply this Renaissance revival pretty literally. We didn't know it at the time, but the client that we designed this next project for was really looking for an art gallery type space. They, I believe, said they want it to feel like a Concetti project, which was such a cool compliment for us. Mm-hmm. We love that people love these bold style decisions, and they come to Concetti to kind of interpret that. The Renaissance revival is interesting being in Detroit. So Detroit is having its own Renaissance, and that's being seen through architectural renovations and through sort of the reimagining of the city. And the way that this is being interpreted in design is hearkening historical elements like a lithographic print and making that a wallpaper application, as you can see on the wall on the far side, or a sink basin that looks like a shell, something that feels Grecian or Roman or something that is from the far past. And we're seeing this interpreted in really dramatic ways. So I know this is a spring trend forecast, but it's very important to call out that there's a deepening and a moodiness that we're going to see in spring. And the way to counter that and contrast that is by using 10% dark, moody elements, 90% bright, light elements to kind of counter that. So for a long time in design, we've seen black and white contrast, high contrast. You're going to continue to see that, but the neutrals are going to warm up. As we mentioned earlier, the warming of natural materials, you're going to see that interpreted in this Renaissance revival with ivories, parchment, bone. Those are going to be your neutrals. But you're going to want to counter that with a dark noir black or something like a midnight, a true black, maybe even a high gloss if you're feeling really crazy, and create something that gives you this sort of high impact. So before we dive into this next project, is there anything that we want to talk about in terms of trend? Yeah.
Fashion shows?
Yes. So we we follow Maison et Objet. That's going to be in France. That's an interior show, and it will show all sorts of housewares and interiors, all the way through commercial as well. Ambiente is going to be a Germany-based show that shows tabletop, mostly like kitchenware, dining wares. And there's a couple in the States as well that we would follow. And lucky for us, since 2019, a lot has gone online, so you don't actually have to go all the way to Europe to gather the information anymore, which is cool. Yeah, of course. Yes.
So are the colors of the year that come out in January, they seem kind of similar, but that's a trend too?
Definitely, yeah. And we follow that to help us understand if our trend predictions are in the right vein. So Gilly, our marketing manager in the back here who's putting this all together, she helps feed that information to the designers, and then we're able to track that and help educate our clients on what's happening. All right, why don't we dive into our case study? So this is going to show you what Concetti's design, how trend is going to be involved in Concetti's design in past reflection. So we're lovingly calling this project our post-Ren gem. It is a condo in the city in the book Cadillac. Our client has a property on the lake, and they wanted a second sort of empty nester mod pad in the city, if you will, someplace that they could go to see shows and experience new restaurants, and someplace that felt super funky, very bold, a little bit outside of their day-to-day design style, and that's how they found their way to Concetti. So all the way back to the beginning of this presentation, we talked about our phase 1. This is going to be an element that is included in phase 1. This is called a visual guideline. So we worked with this client to interview them and understand what they liked, and we listened to everything they had to say, and then we interpreted it through a visual guideline to make sure that we were all on the same page before we move forward. So we are constantly checking in with our clients to ensure that we are not thinking too far down the road in the wrong direction. And you're able to see how this will soon be interpreted in the project itself. So this is the main living space of the post-Ren gem. You're going to enter, and the kitchen will be on the left, living right in front of you, and dining to the right-hand side. We're going to look at some of this photography and explore how these trends that we just talked about are applied in the space. So beginning with Renaissance Revival, we have the black and white lithographic wallpaper that we saw in examples earlier. That is going to be like an illustration you will see in historical types of texts. We took that and applied it all the way around the space. Additionally, you can see the cranes sort of in the middle. That's a TV. So we've taken a Renaissance style frame, put it over the TV, put a piece of art on the TV. Now it's no longer an ugly TV. Now it's a beautiful piece of art. And additionally, Renaissance Revival, as it is a historical piece of art. Seasonless warmth, we're going to see in the color drenching of the space. So this is a really deep aubergine, like nearly tinted black color, but it's a warm purple. So in 2028, we're predicting outwards seeing the cooling of colors, but right now the colors are warming. So this aubergine is something that will be very beautiful even in spring. And then additionally, you can see the custom drapery panels are going to be that exact paint color interpreted into a soft material. And there's a custom rug that you'll see a little bit better later on, but again, using that same color palette throughout. Formless function, as you can see, the exaggerated curve to the table, to the side chairs, and to that sort of monolithic shape in the sofa is an interpretation of that. And avant accents. This client was really interesting because they came to us during our accessories process of the design, and they said, well, we really don't need you to accessorize because we have collections of art, and it's very important to us that we are able to show them throughout the space. So we have the jaguar on the dining table, the beautiful lamp in the living room, the bust on the far left-hand side in the kitchen, and throughout the entire space, you're able to see these accents really shine. So just a couple of additional close-up details here. And with Renaissance revivals, specifically in the book Cadillac and in Detroit, we wanted to harken back to Art Deco architectural detailing and silhouettes. So in the kitchen, we have this really high impact backsplash, and it's a mercurial mirror and a black tile, so you're gonna get a really beautiful reflective quality. A high gloss, color drenched, very moody application with, you can see mirror fronts on the bottom of the island as well. So we're creating this really fun glam deco experience. This is looking towards the guest bedroom, is behind the wall that we're looking at here. The bar detail was really interesting. So the two corbels, the verdigris corbels that you can see on the bottom, those are actually an architectural detail from the book Cadillac itself. So we were able to repurpose this really beautiful element that has some precious history to the space and create functionality around it. So we built the bar up above it and have floating shelves, kind of hearkening to that industrial style. And again, just some additional examples of the seasonless warmth and color drenching, which I know we touched on at our last visit with MDC. That color drenching element is going to be super high impact. So we dare you to be bold and paint your ceiling, paint your trim, paint your doors, paint your base molding, paint your walls all the same color. It will surprisingly make the room feel larger because you are eliminating the visual cut of the ceiling being a different color. So it tricks the mind into enlarging the space. Here you're able to see the guest bedroom and the master bedroom. So we are showing how formless function can be applied in custom soft good applications. The green room, the entire headboard is a channel tufted built-in headboard. So our fabricators were able to take this design that we interpreted in phase 1 during the vision, and we co-created with the client. And then in phase 2, we brought in our fabricators and we sent them a bid request for this custom headboard. And we went through different budget elements with the client, landed on the perfect application. And now you're able to see how it not only looks beautiful, but it's functional, because it goes all the way across the wall. And think about how cozy that would be to read a book right in that space. And then in the master bedroom, we actually took drapery all the way up to the ceiling. So a non-traditional application for headboards here. It's not going to be as built-in as the guest bedroom, but still provide this kind of luxurious hospitality sort of look, which was exactly what this client was going for. They wanted it to feel like a hotel in the city that they had access to at all times. And I think that Concetti really nailed it. It feels like a super mod hospitality-inspired space. This is the guest bathroom. So this is attached to the green room. So we're taking that aesthetic and pulling it into the bathroom here. Avant accent, so we didn't have to accessorize the bathroom at all. Our client was like, I have this bust, I would like you to use it. It goes perfectly here. It made our job a little bit easier. But we are not afraid of pattern, as you can tell. We really love making bold statements with tile and expressing color and richness in this way. So we really can get a high, bold contrast story just through tile alone. This is going to be the primary bathroom attached to the bedroom here on the far right-hand side. So you're able to see formless function in the exaggerated arch of the shower. So you have that marble detail go and create an entire arch for the opening of the shower. We followed that line through the niche. So we took that matte black marble and did an entire swath, a sheet of that stone, and set it into that exaggerated, rounded, arched niche. And then our very art-savvy client had a sculpture to put in the niche, and we put him up there as one of our avant accent details, which we thought was very cool. What a way to make a statement with a piece of art. We absolutely loved it. And so one of the key takeaways that's important for us for you to take away from this entire presentation is to understand that, yes, there's a lot of trends that we're all exposed to constantly through editorial, through Instagram, through the television, or what have you. But really what matters in your space is that you understand what you like based on what you're absorbing all day. And then if you wanted to tap in Concetti to help interpret that, we would be so happy to do so. And thank you. And I'm happy to answer more questions if you would like.
If you could please talk on the microphone, this is being recorded.
No pressure. In the background, in a lot of your walls, are those not that one, like there?
Yeah.
The doorway and in the back of the bar there. Is that a mural that
Yes.
you've used throughout? It looks like in different
Exactly.
rooms?
Yeah, exactly. It's a lithographic scenic, so you can see it kind of
Wallpaper,
goes
though.
all, yep, it's a wall
Okay.
covering. So it goes all the way around the room, and
Nice.
the panels, our wallpaper installer is a genius. He wraps the switches and the vent covers,
Yeah.
and it's so
Yeah.
cool. And we loved combining that with the saturation of the color.
Yeah.
So when we spoke on Renaissance Revival earlier, that black and white high contrast, when you pair that with a really deep color, you're really getting this like moody, historical sort of aesthetic.
And also, how did you install the picture over the TV?
So this is a marble fireplace surround. So it's a black surround, and then our incredible GC and tile fabricators anchored it through the tile, and then the TV anchor mounted directly through that. So it's installed, it was designed intentionally to have a TV there always. So when we did the architectural casing and blocking behind it, it was meant to hold the TV mount. No, it's mounted all the way in through the tile.
But it's an art TV.
Yeah, actually it's a TV, just a regular frame TV. And then we have some vendors we work with that sell frames. So you can just pop it right on. It has straps on the back, so you can truly at your leisure change out your TV frame however you want it. Yeah. Yeah.
Any other questions?
Questions? We're excited you guys are curious. We could talk about it all day.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Cheryl O'Brien, and
Hey.
I really love the entire design. My question is about the kitchen. When you're dealing with the appliances, I know there's been a trend kind of leaning more towards induction, but what have you guys, found in your design process and what people
Yeah.
are thinking? And
So that's a great question. With my experience and the clients I'm working with right now, I'm finding that it's based on how they like to cook. So it's truly personal. I personally like to cook with gas. Like I like to have a fire element. But there's a lot of technological advances in appliances as well. What's interesting that I'm hearing from clients is, oh, we want a colored appliance, or we want brass hardware on our appliance. People are willing to invest a little bit more to get sort of a statement, almost like a dopamine accent in your kitchen. Like think about getting like a Le Creuset accessory or some appliance that can be on your countertop that's like a piece of jewelry for your kitchen. Appliances are kind of shifting into that, and people are ready to commit to something more playful.
sounds like fun. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Oh, you guys are awesome. Yay.
Hello. I have a question about kitchen design as well.
Yes.
And I've heard different opinions, and I'm about to embark on my fifth kitchen renovation.
Veteran.
And I've always played it safe because it was for resale value and timeless design and all that. But I have a galley kitchen, so it's no island or anything. And I've considered the wood on the bottom, white on the top, and green in a niche area, like green and brass and glass
Ooh,
cabinets.
I love that.
3 designers have told me, don't do it.
Do it.
Oh, good.
Do it. Paint it all green even if you wanted. I love it. Green is such a natural detail. It's a neutral. So the way I talk with the designers at Concetti is there's neutrals and then there's tinted neutrals. So you have green and navy and maroon that are a neutral as well. And tinted neutrals is going to be like a white that has a little bit of a green undertone, or a black that you can feel green in, for example. So I would say, yes, I give you permission to do the green, if not even more of the green.
And the reason I've been told don't do it is because I was told it's too much.
No,
You have too much going on.
never.
Okay.
I don't know if, yeah, never. No,
Okay,
I don't think so. I don't think we subscribe to too much. We like
No.
more is,
Doesn't look
yeah.
like it.
Yeah, we love the more is more theory. But if it speaks to you, I would do it for sure.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Any other questions? I actually do have a question,
Yeah,
if you don't mind.
absolutely. Love it.
When you color drench, please refresh my memory. Do you use the same gloss throughout?
Great question. So not always. You want to use, and I do, yeah, we'll totally, I think I saw your hand as well. So we'll see. But for the ceiling, you're gonna wanna use a semi-satin. For the walls, it's going to be your cup of tea. So if you want it to be a high gloss, or if you want it to be a lime wash, the walls are the place to do your own whatever sheen it is that you like. For the base molding though, you want to do something that is going to be high impact and more durable. So you don't want to do like a satin, for example, on the base molding, or anything that's going to like have hands, hardware, doors, casing, because you're going to start to see like fingerprints and grease transfer. It's a great question.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So my question is, can you give us a trend for 2026?
Probably.
Perhaps.
Well, now I'm in the
color?
hot seat.
Is this highly secret?
Yes. No, not at all. Actually, the one that didn't make the cut because it didn't have enough supporting details, which means it's not developed yet, which in turn means it's coming later on, is going to be this high femme element to palettes. So I mentioned the 80s earlier. You're going to see a resurgence of this kind of grunge and femme and interior. So chrome, for example, that we haven't seen in decades in a cool way, you're going to see coming back around. And also these high femme color palettes. So a hot cherry bomb red, for example, or something that has a really exaggerated sort of like rock and roll element to it. So that I believe may be coming around in 28. Don't hold me to it, but we'll see. You can rewind this and see if I was correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for the question. And we also have a little QR code at the end, so which, if we wanted to get connected with Concetti or continue the conversation with any of us on your own design, we are so excited to hear from you. So you can take a little picture of that and it'll send you directly to us.
Yep. Newsletter, website, Instagram.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, you've got some time, so.
What was the timeline on that condo project?
So we started that project in 2022.
And you just
So-
completed it?
Just recently, just
Yeah,
photographs
December, I
in
think.
December. So these are hot off the press. We had to really get on our photographer to get us this little batch. We actually pressured him into handing over a couple ahead of time. This was just photographed a couple of weeks ago. So just installed and all of the final detailing came together. So you're getting a sneak peek.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, we have another question.
Yes.
What was that website called? The French
Maison et Objet. Maison et Objet, O-B-J-E-T. So it means house and object in French. They have a spring fair and a fall fair. And that's one of our main focuses when we're looking at trend. Yeah.
Any other questions? Well, thank you, Caitlin and Jessica. That was awesome.
Thank you. We appreciate you all coming.